friends. This video is a product review that we're doing on a new Sublimation T-Shirt, which was provided to me from the folks over at Vinyls Galore. And we're going to be doing this graphic on it, which is something that Danielle and I put together one evening. This is all of the elements that she wants on her T-shirt, so we're going to make this happen. I'm going to walk you through just a basic step-by-step on actually using the heat press and putting this image on the T-shirt, but this is all about the T-shirt. So let's look at the T-shirt. We have this T-shirt, which is 100% poly. As you can see, it's white. This T-shirt feels like cotton. I had to go back and say, are you sure this is poly? Because it's remarkable how this T-shirt feels like cotton. And if you can look at this neck, this is like a ribbed neckline, stretchy. It's got a little bit of a give to it there. That's super nice. So this is going to be her new shirt. All right, so we're heating up at 395, and we're going to press this at 40 seconds. Now, one of the new things that I'm going to try out is craft paper. We have this, it's all over the place. I'm out of butcher paper, so we're going to give this a shot. I'm going to pre-press this. I've never done one of this T-shirts before. This is going to be their own brand of shirt, which is super, super exciting for them. So I have a craft paper on the bottom, I have a craft paper on the top. I'm just going to go ahead and give this a little bit of a press for a few seconds. I just want to get those iron out all those little wrinkles so that they don't get in my way. And as you can see, it's also a good way for you to test your pressure knob and make sure that you're not too hard and you're not too soft. So I have another piece here. I'm going to use this on the top because it's much bigger. I'm going to feed this in between my layers. As you may have seen in my other videos, or you may already know about sublimation ink, it turns into a gas. The whole job of sublimation ink is to turn into a gas and dye the actual fabric. So I don't want that going through to the other side, be like a ghost image on the back, which, blah, we don't want that. So I have craft paper in between my two layers. I have craft paper on the bottom, which is protecting my bottom platen. This big sponge is to help you with pressure. And I'm going to make sure that we're lined up center on my bottom platen. That's where the magic happens. I did have an adult T-shirt guide, which tells me from the edge of my neckline here, as you can see, it does say adult on it. There's various sizes. And I'm just going to line that up, and it's going to just give me my distance of where I want to place my image, which is right about where I need it to be. Scoot this around a little bit to make sure that you have equal distance. You want your image to be as centered into your platen as you can, because then you're going to get pressure all around. You're not going to get cold zones around your edge that will impact how your image presses. It's also telling me that I got to scoot my liner paper over a little bit because it's off the edge. So perfect. Now, one thing that I like to do is, you can see I've torn around all the edges of my image. This is so that you don't get a hard press line. This will fade out into the material. So I am going to take my image, and I do it this way because I can line this two sides up easy. And I'm just going to put a little crease down the middle. That tells me now Gotta make sure that I'm in frame because I've got my camera set up in a different position. This tells me where my center of my design is to put it on the center of my t-shirt. And I'm going to hear me banging because I forgot to get my reposition spray. And I have a huge sign that I'm working on. Anyway, looking for Bluetooth speakers. And I'm going to give my transfer just a short little zap. And all that's going to do is just help me lay that down so that it won't move. Because if it moves, that's usually when you get your ghosting on your images. And nobody wants ghosting on their images. So I'm also going to grab a hold of my lint roller. Okay, so we're in position. I'm going to go ahead and drop this down for just another minute just to heat it up. My hubby just got home. He's delivering me some tumblers and some vinyl from our good friends over at Vinyls Galore. Not just vinyls, there's galore too. So, I'm going to go ahead and roll this off. And I just thought that I picked up something, so I'm really glad that we didn't skip this step, because if there's any material, lint or hairs or anything at all, little whatnots on your material, when you put it your transfer down onto it, the dye will stick to that and not so much your shirt. So I'm actually going to bring Danielle in here. What? Come here. Because she's going to actually do the whole pressing. Because it's her shirt. You're going to have to step over this. Beware of the earthquake. Earthquake. Shake it, cam. That's called cinematography. So, then we're going to put this down on top. And Danielle is going to swing the arm over. And we're going to just, she did some pressing for me before. So this is really kind of cool, because what I'm doing is I'm also using Danielle to show you that it is not as difficult as what it might seem. So we're going to hold on to our platinum, our top platinum, and we're going to pull the crank back forward, and we're going to press that down. And that looks like it's a little bit too much. Keep going. Yeah. Okay, we'll get that later. And we're going to hit enter, which is start. And that's going to time down. You may see some gas. That's normal. That's the ink actually doing what it's supposed to do. Go from an ink to turn it into a gas. And good thing the hubby's a mechanic, because he can fix that later. And then once this is timed down, we're going to release it. And we'll be back. Okay. There's the magic beeps. Hold on to your platen just to keep it secure and lift. And hit enter to stop the beeping. Yeah. Spin it out of the way. Obviously, you need a lot of clearance between your table and your wall. We're going to lift this, and what we want to do first before we lift the transfer is look for saturation. So we want to see a good amount of ink saturating through the paper, which tells me that the ink is turning from ink to gas on the sublimation paper. And I wish it was a little bit more saturated. So we can take a little sneaky peek. And, well, maybe it's just because it's a watercolor, because there's nothing really left on the paper. And let's go ahead and just go for it. Pull it out. It's going to be hot though, so just be careful. There. Wow. Ooh. And this is what was throwing me off, because there's still a little bit of ink on the paper. We could have put this back under for 10 seconds. So what I'm going to say is bump this up to 400 and leave it at 40 seconds, and this here should dye right out. All that ink should be gone. But I'm going to turn that off so we don't burn ourselves. What we are looking at is this graphic. And let's get a good shot of this. Look at that. That is a nice saturation. Really, really nice. And this image is watercolor. So you're not going to have this super thick pigment like you would if it was a completely opaque color image. So the fact that it's picking up the water lines and everything on this watercolor image is really something. And it does feel pressed, which is good. It did not shrink, and as you can see, I do have a little bit of some lines on it, but those will press out. I'm not too worried about the hard line. It's from my platen. But what you do not see is the hard lines around the image because we tore the paper. Now, if we look on the inside of this shirt, because it is a shirt product review, we're going to look at the inside layer of the image, and it's right through. So remember, we put that sheet in between the two pieces of fabric. This is why. If we look at the inside of the back of the shirt, there's nothing there. There. You can see through it, but there's nothing there. So overall, I can't get over the feel of this shirt. It feels so soft, just like cotton. I know, right? So overall, I'm really happy with the shirt. I think it sublimates well. You can handle it well. It's not difficult to move with or work with, which is half of the battle, really. For those that have struggled working with t-shirts, you know what I'm talking about. The after product, the saturation is there. The feel of the material after it's been pressed is there. So it's going to wear well. It's not going to feel stiff or, you know, like it's got something stuck on top of it, as opposed to that ink saturated right into the material. The only other test after this is a wash dry test. I would probably want to go ahead and wash this in a low temp at first, just to make sure that that dye is really in the material. But I'm happy for it. I think that I'm going to end up changing my whole entire t-shirt product line over to this just because of that feel of cotton. I cannot get over that. So there you have it. If you're looking for a really, really well put together and created Sublimation T-shirt, check out Vinyls Galore. Of course, all of their information is going to be down in the information box down below. And stay tuned for the next video. I have behind me a little bit of a sneaky peek of something that's going to be coming up. It may or may not involve tumblers. It does. Metal straws. And something about the tops on these are going to be different. So, check it out.